Welcome everybody to Design of Sustainable Products with Material Intelligence. This webinar will be hosted by Anlo Chabrila from ANSYS, who is Product Sales Specialist there, and also Mikko Hinkanen, Customer Success Manager here at PDS Vision.
Thank you very much. So today's subject is really the design of sustainable products with material intelligence, and I'm Mikko Hinkanen, and I'm located in Tampere, Finland, and working with as a customer success manager in there, and being with PDS Vision since ISH. I do work with the ANSYS products and with the PTC products, Vigil and Creo Parametric to be a bit more specific on that one. If you think about PDS Vision, for the ones that are not really familiar with us, we started with let's say 2 companies in the Nordics, and then we gradually have grown over the years in quite kind of a big player in the engineering software application sales domain. And at the very moment, we have something like 440 different individuals as employees, and all spread over the globe quite evenly. Some gaps here and there, but we still are quite heavily growing company. And who are we working with? We are working with mainly PTC, but also with the ANSYS as a reseller of the applications. And ANSYS as our partner is kind of a new one, but still it's growing quite rapidly with us. And on the image on the right, you will see Anne-Laure giving a presentation in the PDS Forum Nordics this year. And they have really come a key part of our offering. And ANSYS is really having a kind of a leading position in the markets they serve, and they have really nice kind of a scalability of the applications, ability to simulate pretty much of anything as there. And then if we jump to the kind of sustainability side of the things, is that even though I was at the technical school and earning my first kind of engineering degrees at the mid-90s, already in there, people were talking about something like green design and lifecycle assessment. But really for the coming years, one of the greatest kind of challenges of this small planet called Earth will be that we have to start designing products and which so that they are sustainable and so that we don't consume more than what actually Earth can carry. And of course, we also have to limit the emissions of creating those products as well. So from the early thoughts, that things have developed quite heavily, and today's webinar is about that what kind of toolings do we have, or what kind of applications do we have in order to make the sustainable product development possible. And when you're talking about sustainable product development, of course, that's a bit different thing than sustainability itself. We are mainly basically focusing on the efficiency. So basically reducing waste and resource consumption. That's kind of the key part of it. And of course, there's a lot of kind of fun things on that one, starting from the supply chains to the design and quality, basically. That can take a big part of the sustainable product development. But when you're talking about, material side of the business in here, then reducing waste and, and basically resource consumption is kind of the key. And for that, one could ask that, okay, how do we do the decisions on the material selection if it did have a heavy impact on the kind of overall footprint of our products? And from ANSYS' point of view, they have made an investigation in the industry and stating that roughly 60% of the industry says that they have problems finding the reliable material property information. Okay, if there is a challenge to find a proper material data, then the question is that there might also be problems or the challenges. How do you integrate that to your engineering kind of data flows? So if the finding of information is one thing, then the availability and of the data, and so that it is a part of the data streams and the kind of engineering's day-to-day workbooks, those are also a bit limited. So for that, we kind of propose a bit of kind of approaches in here, and Anne-Laure will go for specifics and user interfaces and how things will look like. But I will boil it down, or sort of make a spoiler at this point that how do we see the things? What you can do is make kind of fun baby steps to the system that you take cryoparametric and answers Granta MI, and you will have then capability of making informed decisions on materials during the selection. You will get your hands on CO2 consumption and energy values, and then you can basically limit the users to use only the materials that are preferred for your company. And this Granta MI has nice integrations to cryoparametric and workbench. On the other hand, if you are a bit more deeper in your journey on the product development and PDM implementations, then one could also add a windshield in there, which is also nicely integrated to the Ansys Granta MI. And with that, you will get a bit more capabilities over the not more the materials. You can basically start computing the BOMs, including the manufacturing processes and some coatings on top of the things. And then you will have some capabilities like where used, where have this material been used in all your products, and also something like a materials release and life cycles for the corporate level. But hey, I will jump off now and give floor to Anlor. Anlor, welcome.
Thank you, Miko. Sorry, I need to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Right, is it in presenter mode now?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. So hello, everybody. I'm Anne Chabria. Like Miko, I've been working since the Ice Age for on material topics. Even maybe a little bit before, but I don't know what came before the Ice Age. So let's, I'll just keep it at that. I work for ANSYS. I'm based in Cambridge, UK, and I support PDS Visions on material topics. So yeah, I will go a little bit deeper into the sustainability introduction that Miko went over, and then I will give you some practical views of what the solutions look like, and I will go into 6 different points. Miko mentioned finding material information, so I'll show you what kind of data we can provide, how we can help you make choices on materials considering the environment, how we can help you improve the information you have. We can provide with your own data coming from suppliers and from your supply chain. Share this information within the engineering community and the rest of the of your company, and then do some simple sustainability roll-ups at when you're designing products to evaluate different solutions and see which ones may make the most impact. And finally, how to have a complete solution to automate your design optimization looking at sustainability. So I hope I'll not lose you along the way, but if we start, so Miko presented how important it is for us to all think about sustainability. There's also a kind of there's new regulations coming into place which make it compulsory for large companies to have a to report on their sustainability impact, and for large companies it comes into effect this year. So from January, the annual reports that will be prepared for release in 2025, they will need to have some sustainability data. The same way, to allow companies to look at your company, to allow investors and other companies to look at your company on the sustainability front, in the same way as they can look at your finances and decide whether you're a good place to invest in. So, and this starts with large companies and then is extended to SMEs by 2026. So it means you need to have some way to make some assessments of what your sustainability impact is. Now, making an assessment of your sustainability impact is not easy because it affects there's so many factors that affect it. And if we just think about the materials, if you think, okay, I change from one material to another material, it's doesn't mean it can be made with a different process, doesn't mean it can be made somewhere else, doesn't mean, if is it better to use a greener material or a lighter material if you are building products which are consuming energy, um, and is it better to go for a material that is maybe less green in the beginning, but then at least can be recycled and reused? It's really difficult to know. And normally, when you assign the materials, you just don't have the information to allow you to make these these decisions. And the tools that exist to measure the overall impact um, um, of the sustainability impact of your products are normally quite they are for experts to use. They take a lot of time to capture the information, and um, it costs therefore a lot of money to have an idea of what the impact of your product is on the environment. So it's not suitable when you actually make the decisions and assign the materials in your products, and um, it's also very costly to do. So we need to find, if you you're going to have to report on everything, it makes sense to find a solution that's a bit simpler. So apart from these challenges, what we hear talking to customers every day about these topics on the material front, is that the engineers do agree that they do not have sustainability data when they make assignments. They really don't know how to make these trade-off decisions. Um, when they are trying to use more, increase the recycled part of their materials in the products they use, they they find it difficult to actually keep track of the information that they get on these materials. And all this is also combined with information on compliance and product risks, which also we believe can be made um, at the is more efficient if you make these kind of decision at the design level. But if you add an extra level of complexity, it can become a bit too much. So what can we do, and how can we help? So we help with data. So we can give you access to information. I'll show you what kind of data we can give you access to, and then we give you some tools to help you make these decisions. And finally, we also give you a kind of framework linked to your existing engineering tools, such as Windchill and Creo, to make sure that these new tools can be easily integrated and used by people, so nobody has to use something new that don't already use. And this is why we think that whatever we do on the material front, we cannot on the sustainability we cannot help people design better sustainable products without integrating with the existing framework, because from before we had that, we would have to spend so much time trying to make sure that everybody was accessing the the material libraries that we were putting in place. Whereas as soon as you make them integrated in Creo, it's the simplest thing to do to find that it's the simplest place to go to find the information. And so people do use it. And and it makes a huge difference to the acceptance of these solutions to be integrated with existing product management tool. So in terms of data, we have three main sources. So we've compiled and we make available a database which has been built for material selection. So in this database, you find about 4,500 materials. For each of these materials, we try to combine information on performance. So it could be mechanical, thermal, electrical, whether it's transparent or not, whether you can use it in medical or food applications. So all this kind of information. To this, we add economic data. So you can have an idea of whether one material is cheaper or more expensive than the other. And we've also done a big work of compiling information on sustainability for all of these materials. So for all of these materials, you will find the embodied energy and the CO2 footprint, um, so that you know whether one material is greener than the other. We also have information on how to transform these materials, the main manufacturing processes that you can add to this that you're going to use with these materials. And finally, at the end of life, are they recyclable or not? And if recyclable, how much energy to recycle them? Then we've got a partnership with EcoInvent, which is a recognized source of environmental data. And for this, we have an additional database where you can find more detailed information in terms of, you know, okay, we have in Material Universe, we'll have the CO2 footprint, um, an average for over the world. In EcoInvent, you will find in your region, for example, and you will find other processes as well. And then we have also worked on a database of restricted substances. So all the chemicals that are included in materials with their CAS number and linked to a list of um, legislations that may affect these chemicals and ban them and therefore have an effect on the material. So this is very good. We can start with having one place where you can access all your material information. What we find is that normally you will then get some additional information, whether on the technical performance of your materials by doing some testing or having some data coming from suppliers, because you maybe you work in a different temperature range than some than what is normally available in this database. So you will be doing some testing to complement that information, but also on sustainability topics from your directly from your supply chain. It's normally information that can be difficult to get, but once someone has supplied it, it's very important to capture it so you don't need to um, ask again, and so you can fill your database, have something already pre-filled to start with, and where you also have gaps, so maybe where you are missing data from a supplier, then you fill the gaps with the information we can provide. So this allows you to have as good a set of information as you can hope to have. And you can rate this information in terms of quality. So you can say, this data I have measured, so it's like quality super good. And this data comes from ANSYS, so I add a bigger, maybe um, um, factor of safety to this because I didn't measure it myself. But at least you have as good data as possible. Once you have this data, you can make optimization. So you can use this information and the CO2 information to make your material choices. So in Granta, you will be able to choose materials, and I'll show you in the video in a few minutes on different criteria that you're trying to obtain. And as long as because you have information on the CO2 footprint, you can add CO2 footprints as a filter. So you can say, I want something which is less than a certain value. And it could be the value that you will find for your existing materials, or you can do these charts, which allow you to look at materials that fit your requirements. And here we've put the embodied energy of these materials against the water usage for producing these materials. So you can start, considering other criteria and the sustainability criteria at the time when you make your material choices and see whether you can take them into account or whether because there are so few choices of materials because of the performance you require, then it's not there won't be any options to find more environmentally friendly materials. But at least at this point, and you will have to work on another part of your design to make it greener. The idea behind Granta MI and creating this one source of material truth is that you add all this information. We believe that having sustainability information separate from all your other material data doesn't really work. So we believe in capturing this information alongside all the technical data, some information on price impact and sustainability data, and the environmental oh my god, the regulation information as well, so that some people who need to make the material choices, maybe it's product designers, they will be able to have all the data they need to make informed decisions. And on the material engineers level, if it's them who make the decision, they will also be able to optimize the selection. Um, and, you know, these people who may make the data available, they will also be able to choose which data is visible to the rest of the organization and ensure that everything is integrated with your CAD and your PLM for traceability. So I mentioned that it's important because you need the data at the point when you add it to your design. And here I show, so here we have, I'll show you in a minute, but this is Creo parametric. Here we have a little dongle or whatever you call it, a little plugin for Granta MI. So that means you can directly open the database without leaving Creo, making your material choices. And here you see that you have information and you choose the information which is visible to your designers. And here they have chosen to add price, CO2 impact, embodied energy, and recycle fraction. So here we have put mostly sustainable information, but you could have also um, the density, the Young's modulus, the Poisson ratio, which other information might be useful for the kind of parts you design. And this ensures assigning the materials at this stage also ensures that you have full traceability in the design. So you will be able to find all the parts where once this is uploaded into Windchill, you will be able to find easily, all the parts where you've used the material. So if you have a supplier's issue, that makes it very simple to see what products are going to be impacted. Um, all this kind of analysis. So here I'll show again, being able to do it directly from the Creo environment making the data visible at this in this environment saves a lot of time for people. They don't need to go out to look for material data. You make sure that they only use the data that is being approved, and you give them sustainability information. I'll show you now a video. So yeah, this is just a bigger picture of what I was showing before, so you can see a little bit better when you get the video when you get the presentation after the webinar. So video. Let me make sure that yep. So here we are in Creo parametric, and you have an assembly open, and you see that there's this little gateway for materials. So in there, you will be able to do a search. So either search for a material or search for maybe a light, a strong, and sustainable material. So you can just add your criteria for your selection, and you end up with the results. So once if there are some materials you're not familiar with, you can check the data by just double clicking on the data sheet on the line. And then you can assign them to a solution, to a part, or you can also create a favorite list so that if you end up using mostly the same materials, you have your list of preferred materials. Once you are back in Creo, so you can see all the data has been assigned to your part, and this guarantees the traceability I was talking about. So you know that which material exactly has been assigned to each part of your assembly. Oh, okay. So I've shown how to work from Creo to make it easy, but you can either work from Creo or from Windchill. So some customers assign materials in Windchill, some customers assign in Creo, some customers assign part in Windchill, part in Creo. Just to make clear, there is a check-in and check-out process that makes sure that there is no overwriting of information, and you can synchronize the the process and the data depending on your design process. Now, once you have assigned all this data to your parts, in the same way that you can do a weight roll up, or you could do a cost roll up if you've got a cost information behind all the materials, we think you can do a simple sustainability roll up, at least as far as the material, the processing, and the first manufacturing processes are concerned. So from it's the time it spends in your factory, basically, not the overall life cycle. We don't have that yet, but because you have not added in, don't have at this point any information on how the product is used, nor what happens at the end of life. But at least you can do this first assessment um, very quickly, and you can do it for different materials because you have assigned a primary material to a part, but you can also assign an alternative material. So you can do it for your main or for the alternative. So what this will give you is it will give you, so you will have your bill of materials for your assembly. You can add a transport phase, so you can see where it's actually come from. And here we see that we've put it in a container from China, and it's done 2,000 kilometers. So this we have to add manually to the to the bill of material when you do your analysis. You've also added then a second transport phase of having a truck from um, the port to your factory. And then for this heating element, we've said that the nickel, there's been some drawing, and we've added the process, and then there's been some um, secondary process of trimming and maybe taking out what didn't come clean out of the first process. And the same thing for the cast for the heating element. We've done some casting for that stainless steel, and we've also done some trimming. So you can add the processes after you've done your automatic bill of materials. So it speeds up the process, and you can keep it from one time to the next. And you can add some standard parts in case part of your assembly is there's some plugs, there's some wires, there's some things which are not just materials and which you don't design yourself. So let's have a look at this. So second video, we're again in Creo, and we've got different assembly. We're gonna again open the gateway. And here we see that on this base place, we don't have any materials assigned. So we're just going to go and assign one from your list of favorites, which is just above, and it's a structural steel. What surprise. And then we can send it to the BOM analyzer. So I'll just go back for a second. So you send it to the BOM analyzer, and you have two choices. Either you do an analysis on the sustainability or on the restricted substance impact. But here we're going to look at sustainability. So we have our we have our BOM, and we have this little calculator that we can click on. So it's doing some analysis, and then we see the results. So we see the mass, and we can see what's got the biggest impact. We can see the embodied energy and the climate change equivalent. And we can see that in overall or in percentage. So we can see that here that the base plate has got 54%, counts for 54% of the overall impact. So maybe if we want to make a change, then looking at changing from our favorite structural steel or looking for a different manufacturer for this structural steel, that could be a good idea. And we also have information on whether the material is recyclable or not, and what can be happening at the end of life. So very quickly, you can get this data in the same way as you get it for weights. And as I showed, this information also can be used for compliance. So, and the idea is early in the design, when you make your choices, you could also check that none of the materials you have assigned have any impact um, they are not banned in any legislation. And this is much easier to check it now than to find out once you've finished your design, and you will then have to redo some work to if you need to change material later on when you find that a material is now banned in certain legislation. And to do this, we have a separate database which you can link to your own data from suppliers. So the same benefits of everything you can do earlier in the design, and the our main objective is to give as much information to people who make material choices as possible, as early as possible, and do it in a simple way. Now, when today when you make material choices and when you do design, you're trying to optimize your performance at an acceptable cost. And it's now what we're saying is you need to extend this to add sustainability to that balance. So I don't know how you draw a balance with three things, so I didn't. Um, but to do this, you need to add this, and you need to be able to look at different material choices, look at different geometries, look at different um, ways of manufacturing. So it's difficult, and you could do it for a few designs. So you could do it manually for a few designs, but the idea is to allow you to do it automatically. And in order to do this, um, is having um, a way to link all this material data you need to be able to look at the cost, at the environmental footprint, like we've seen, but also link it to your design tools and to some simulation packages, so you can validate the that your designs will work in the environment they are designed for, and do this not only for one, two, or three designs, but do it for a multiple of combinations, and looking at how this which ones are the most the best adapted to your objectives, which whether it's to have as performant a material a design, or to have a sustainable design. And the idea is to make sure that you have not forgotten anything, and automating it makes also a simpler and more efficient way of working. And to do this, you would need not only the material information that we have looked at, but you also need some simulation tools, and a glue. So a way to do this process optimization. And for this, we at ANSYS we have simulation and a process optimization tool. So that's what we can provide if you want to go one step further on your sustainability route. So I finished what I wanted to say for today. So I hope it's been interesting. But I tried to show you what kind of data we can provide in terms of sustainability, how we can help you not only use our own data, but also capture your own information from your supply chain and from your manufacturing processes. Make sure it's integrated with your design tools. Do quick roll-ups once you have all this data in your design. Make sure that you also consider legislative risks at this stage. And finally, do some tool chaining to do some design optimization. So that's it for me.
Thank you to you, Anlor, for presenting, and to you also, Mikko Hinkanen. So thank you very much for everybody who has attended today. I hope to see you soon. Have a fantastic day now. Bye bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.